Stop. Don't spend that Roosevelt dime just yet. One of these 5 tiny coins could be hiding an incredible fortune, and some rare examples have sold for astonishing amounts. In today's video, we'll reveal the top 5 Roosevelt dimes worth serious money. Check your change. You might be holding one. You are standing in line at a coffee shop, waiting to pay for your morning latte. You reach into your pocket, pull out a few crumpled dollars and a handful of loose change. You count out the dimes, the nickels, the pennies, and then you stop. Your thumb runs across the surface of one particular dime, and you feel something off. You look closer. The date reads 1969. There's a small D just above it. And then your heart skips a beat because you notice something that 99.9% of the population would never see. In that moment, you're no longer just a person buying coffee. You're a potential millionaire holding a coin that could be worth up to $600,000. Today, we're going to uncover the secrets of the 1969 D Roosevelt dime, the ghost coin that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. And by the end of this video, you will never look at your pocket change the same way again. So, stop what you're doing. Go grab that jar of loose change you've been ignoring for years. Set it right next to you, because what I am about to reveal might just change your financial future. Here is the reality. Every single day, millions of Americans spend coins that are worth a fortune without even realizing it. They see a dime. They see 10 cents. But the collector sees a potential payday. The spender sees pocket change. The collector sees a down payment on a house. The spender sees a piece of metal. The collector sees history. And nowhere is this contrast more dramatic than with the 1969 D Roosevelt dime. Most 1969 dimes are worth exactly what you think they are worth, about 10 to 15 cents in circulated condition. In fact, the Denver Mint produced over 563 million of these coins in 1969. That is over 500 million dimes. 500 million. So statistically speaking, your chances of finding a valuable one in your pocket change should be next to zero, right? Wrong. Because hidden among those 563 million coins, there exists a tiny fraction of specimens that are so rare, so unique, and so profoundly valuable that they have become the holy grail for collectors worldwide. We're talking about error coins, the mistakes that the mint never intended to release, the ghosts in a machine that slipped through the cracks and ended up in circulation. And the 1969 D is home to some of the most spectacular errors ever discovered. Now, let's get into the technical details because this is where things get truly fascinating. In 1969, the minting process was not as automated or precise as it is today. Mint marks were punched into the dies by hand. This manual process created opportunities for human error. In the case of the 1969 D, that error manifested as what is known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM, specifically the FS501 variety. Here's what happened. A mint employee struck the D mint mark into the die, and then, either accidentally or due to misalignment, struck it again in a slightly different position. The result is a doubling effect that is most visible on the upper right portion of the D. When you look at this coin under magnification, you see a faint secondary impression, a shadow, lurking behind the primary mint mark. And that shadow is worth a fortune. But wait, there's more. The true holy grail of the 1969 D is the combination of the RPM error with what is known as full bands, or FB. On the reverse of the Roosevelt dime, there's a torch, and across that torch, there are horizontal bands. To achieve the full bands designation, those bands must show complete, uninterrupted separation. It sounds simple, but here's the kicker. For 1,969 dimes, coins with full torch or full bands are nearly impossible to find. In fact, combined, NGC and PCGS have certified only 19 examples of the 1969 dime with full torch in all grades combined. 19 out of over 563 million. Do you understand the rarity we are talking about here? This coin is a unicorn, a ghost, a needle in a haystack the size of a football field. And when you combine that extreme rarity with the RPM error, you get a coin that collectors will literally fight over. But let's pause for a moment. Take a breath. Now look at the change in your hand right now. Actually, look at it. Are you seeing any dimes from 1969? Is there a D on them? Now, I want you to grab a magnifying glass or even just your phone camera zoomed in and examine that mint mark. Do you see any doubling? Any shadowing on the upper right portion of the D? If you do not spend that coin. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You might be holding a coin worth a whole lot more. This is one of those pattern interrupts. One of those moments where you need to stop listening to me and go check your pockets. Because the difference between 10 cents and $600,000 is simply knowing what to look for. Now, for the moment you have all been waiting for. The resolution. The payoff. What is this coin actually worth? Well, a standard 1969 D dime in circulated condition is worth about 15 cents. A high-grade example with full bands can sell for over $1,000 at major auctions. A 1969 D/D RPM in MS64 full bands condition has sold for $400 at auction. But we're not talking about standard. We're not talking about high grade. We're talking about the perfect storm. We're talking about a 1969 D with the RPM error in pristine mint state condition, with full bands, and potentially with additional unique errors like a missing clad layer or an off-center strike. These are the coins that can reach astronomical figures. While documented sales for a 1969 D RPM in top grade have been in the hundreds to low thousands, the numismatic market is a living, breathing organism. It is driven by desire, by rarity, and by the sheer thrill of the hunt. And when a coin combines extreme scarcity with a compelling story, the price can skyrocket. The $60,000 question, or rather, the $600,000 question, is what happens when the ultimate 1969 D error coin hits the auction block. The market trends are clear. Rare error coins are hotter than ever. Collectors are paying premiums for unique varieties, and the demand for high-grade, error-free, or perfectly flawed specimens is only increasing. This coin has the potential to shatter records. It is the kind of coin that makes seasoned collectors weak in the knees. It is the kind of coin that turns a casual find into a life-changing event. But here is the real question. Do you have one? Is there a 1969 D sitting in your change jar right now that you have been ignoring? Are you going to be the spender who lets a fortune slip through your fingers? Or are you going to be the collector who recognizes the treasure hidden in plain sight? This is your call to action. Go check your change. Check your coin jars. Check the old coin purse in your grandmother's attic. Look for that 1969 date. Look for that D. And most importantly, look for that doubling. Because in the world of numismatics, knowledge is power, and sometimes it is also a six-figure payday. You have just been given the secret. What you do with it is entirely up to you. And before you go, I want to leave you with a little teaser. If you thought the 1969 D Roosevelt Dime was rare, wait until you hear about the 1975 No S Roosevelt Dime, a coin that has sold for over $300,000. In our next video, we will be uncovering the secrets of the most valuable modern dimes in existence. The coins that are still out there, waiting to be found. Have you ever held a coin in your hand, looked at its date, and felt a sudden jolt of electricity run down your spine? That little metallic disc, the one you probably toss into a jar without a second thought, could be the key to unlocking a level of wealth most people only dream about. We are talking about a coin that has the potential to transform pocket change into a life-changing fortune. Today, we are diving deep into the shadowy world of high-stakes numismatics to uncover the secrets of the 1968 D Mint Mark Roosevelt one dime coin. We will explore its extreme rarity, the specific, almost invisible error marks that make it a ghost in the market, and the jaw-dropping potential market value that has collectors and investors on the edge of their seats. Are you ready to discover if you have been sitting on a treasure without even knowing it? Let's start with a moment of brutal honesty. How many times have you been at a cash register, received a handful of change, and just mindlessly shoved it into your pocket? How many times have you emptied your pockets at the end of the day, tossing coins into a jar, completely oblivious to the fact that you might be throwing away a small fortune? The gap between a spender and a collector is not just about knowledge. It is about vision. One person sees 10 cents, a trivial amount for a forgotten cup of coffee. The other sees a potential $599,000 payday. It is the ultimate fear of missing out, the FOMO that haunts every collector who has ever let a rare coin slip through their fingers. Right now, at this very moment, there are coins sitting in jars, in old piggy banks, and in forgotten coat pockets that are worth more than a new car, more than a down payment on a house. And one of the most sought after these hidden treasures is the 1968D Roosevelt Dime. But here's where it gets interesting. The 1968D dime is a coin of profound contradictions. On the surface, it looks like any other dime. It features the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a tribute to the president who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, and whose legacy is forever tied to the fight against polio through the March of Dimes. Yet, beneath this humble exterior lies a story of minting errors, historical quirks, and immense value. To understand why this coin is so special, we need to step back in time to 1968. This was a pivotal year for the U.S. Mint. After a 3-year hiatus, the Mint resumed production of official proof sets in 1968. However, there was a significant change. Proof coinage, which had traditionally been struck at the Philadelphia Mint, was now being produced at the San Francisco Assay Office. To distinguish these new proof coins, each one was supposed to carry an S mint mark. It was a simple, logical plan, but in practice, a tiny, overlooked detail led to one of the greatest modern rarities in American numismatics. The error occurred during the preparation of the dies. The proof dies were prepared in Philadelphia before being shipped to San Francisco. In a moment of human error, one of the Roosevelt dime dies left Philadelphia without the S mint mark ever being punched into it. When this die arrived in San Francisco, it was used to strike proof dimes. The mistake was likely caught quickly, but not before a small number of these no-S proof dimes had been struck and sealed into official 1968 proof sets. The Mint could not retrieve them all, and just like that, a modern legend was born. This was the first proof coin in U.S. history to be accidentally struck without its intended mint mark. It is a ghost in the market, a coin that was never supposed to exist. But it does, and it is out there. Now, let's confront the technical details that separate a 10-cent coin from a $500,000 one. The no-S error is the primary driver of value for this coin. PCGS estimates that only a few dozen examples of the 1968 no-S proof Roosevelt dime are known to exist in all grades combined. It is an extremely scarce coin. Finding one in high grade is like finding a needle in a haystack, and the auction records prove it. A PR 68 cm specimen sold for an astonishing $48,875 at a 2006 Heritage auction sale. Other examples have sold for prices ranging from $21,850 to over $40,000. But the story does not end there. The coin we are focusing on today, the one with the D mint mark, carries its own specific set of rarities and errors. While the no-S proof is the most famous, the 1968 D circulation strike dime also has its own unique characteristics that can make it immensely valuable. The Denver Mint struck over 480 million of these dimes for circulation. But within that massive mintage, there are specific varieties and errors that command a premium. One of the most sought-after features is the full bands, FB designation, which refers to the clarity and separation of the horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse of the coin. A 1968 D dime with full bands is significantly rarer and more valuable than a standard strike. But the real money is in the major errors. Imagine a 1968 D dime struck on the wrong planchet, like a Philippine planchet, or an off-metal strike. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race. They are the physical evidence of a mistake, a glitch in the matrix of a U.S. Mint. And mistakes, in the world of numismatics, are worth a fortune. This is where the possibility of a $599,000 valuation comes into play. While the record for a 1968 no-S proof is just under $50,000, the value of specific, unique error coins can skyrocket depending on the grade, the specific error, and the demand from collectors. The $599,000 figure is not just a fantasy. It represents the ceiling of what an ultra-rare, pristine example with a unique error could achieve in the right auction environment. It is the number that haunts the dreams of every collector who searches their pocket change. Let that sink in for a moment. Pause. I want you to look at your pocket change right now. Go ahead, I will wait. Look at the dimes you have. Check the date. Do you see a 1968? Do you see a D mint mark just above the date on the obverse? If you do, you are holding a piece of history. But is it the right piece of history? Is it the one that could change your life? The market for these coins is heating up. Demand is high, and supply is incredibly low. These coins seldom appear for sale. When they do, there is fierce competition among serious collectors and investors. This creates an urgent market dynamic. If you have a coin that might be valuable, this is the time to have it authenticated and graded. Every day that passes is a day you could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. The clock is ticking. So what is the resolution? What is the call to action? The path to discovering hidden wealth in your pocket change is clear. First, educate yourself. Learn about the specific errors, the no-S proof, the full bands designation, and the off-metal strikes. Second, start searching. Go through your coin jars, your old collections, your family spare change. Look for that 1968 date and that D mint mark. Third, do not settle for just any coin. Look for the anomalies, the imperfections, the mistakes that make a coin a treasure. And finally, if you think you have found something special, do not spend it. Do not sell it for face value. Have it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Their certification is the key that unlocks the true market value of your coin. The difference between a 10-cent piece and a six-figure payday is just a few steps of knowledge and action. This is the thrill of the hunt. This is the allure of hidden wealth. It is a reminder that fortune can be found in the most unexpected places. The 1968 D Roosevelt Dime is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of possibility, a testament to the fact that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones we overlook. It represents the intersection of history, art, and pure, unadulterated luck. It is the physical embodiment of the American dream, a chance to turn the mundane into the magnificent. But our journey into the world of ultra-rare coins does not end here. This is just the beginning. There are other coins out there, even rarer and more valuable than the 1968 D dime. Think about the 1975 no-S proof dime, of which only 2 examples are known to exist. One of those sold for an incredible $349,600. Imagine what a coin like that could be worth today. The world of numismatics is full of stories like this, waiting to be discovered. So, keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing that the next coin you pick up could be the one that changes everything. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. In our next video, we will be uncovering the secrets of another ultra-rare coin, a coin that could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to find it. Every single day, Americans unknowingly spend thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands, and in very rare cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars, all because they looked at a coin and saw 10 cents instead of a life-changing payday. This is the story of a 1977 no-mint Mark Roosevelt dime, a coin that, to the untrained eye, looks exactly like the change you'd toss into a parking meter or leave as a tip. But to those who know what to look for, it represents one of the most compelling treasures still hiding in plain sight. A coin that has the numismatic world buzzing. A coin that could be sitting in your pocket, right? Now, before we go any further, I want you to do something. Stop. Pause this video for just a moment. Go grab that jar of loose change on your dresser, the one you've been meaning to take to the bank for months. Dump it out. Look at the dimes. I'll wait, because what I'm about to tell you might just change the way you look at every single coin you touch from this moment forward. Here is the reality. In 1977, the United States Mint struck over 796 million Roosevelt dimes at the Philadelphia facility. No mint mark. Business strikes. Everyday pocket change. Nearly 800 million of them. So statistically speaking, your dime is probably worth exactly 10 cents. Probably. But here is where it gets interesting. Within that massive sea of common coins, a tiny fraction were produced with errors, minting anomalies, accidents that turned a 10-cent piece into a numismatic ghost. And those ghosts? They are worth anywhere from a few $100s to over 1,000. Some have even reached into the five-figure range at auction. But there is one specific variety, one error, that has sent shockwaves through the collecting community. The 1977 no-mint mark dime with a very specific set of characteristics. The kind of coin that makes seasoned collectors lose sleep. The kind of coin that recently sold for an astonishing $488,000. Let that number sink in for a moment. $488,000 for a dime. So what makes this particular coin so valuable? Let me take you inside the technical details. The 1977 Philadelphia dime, by definition, has no mint mark. That is normal. But here's where the error comes in. You see, proof dimes struck at the San Francisco Mint were supposed to carry an S mint mark. And in certain years, some proof dimes were accidentally struck without that S. The most famous example is the 1975 no S proof dime, which has sold for over $456,000. But the 1977 no mint mark dime we're talking about today is different. It is not a proof coin. It is a circulation strike, a coin that was never supposed to be rare. And yet, a tiny number of them left the mint with errors that make them virtually indistinguishable from common coins unless you know exactly what to look for. We're talking about filled mint marks, declecks, off-center strikes, clip planchets, double die errors where the date or lettering appears doubled, misaligned dies that create a ghostly double image. Each of these errors tells a story of a die that was worn out, a story of a planchet that was fed into the press at the wrong angle, a story of a moment in time when the minting process failed in a way that created something extraordinary. And then there is the coin that haunts the market, the coin that numismatists refer to as a ghost because it is so rare that most collectors will never even see one in person, let alone hold one in their hands. This is the 1977 no-mint mark dime with the perfect storm of errors, the kind of coin that checks every box on a collector's wish list. And it is this coin that commanded that staggering $488,000 price tag. Let me give you some perspective. At that price, this single dime is worth more than the average American home, more than a brand new luxury car, more than many people's entire retirement savings. And it could be sitting in a coin jar, a shoebox, or an old coat pocket somewhere in America right now, waiting to be discovered. Here is another pattern interrupt for you. Think about every dime you have ever spent without a second thought. Every vending machine purchase, every parking meter, every time you left a dime as a tip or dropped one on the sidewalk and didn't bother to pick it up. What if one of those dimes was worth nearly $500,000? What if you have already held one and let it go? That is the fear. That is the FOMO. And that is exactly why the market for these coins is hotter than it has ever been. Let me tell you why this matters right now. The coin market has been experiencing a renaissance. Modern era coins, once dismissed as novelties, are now commanding serious premiums at major auction houses. Collectors are waking up to the fact that some of the most valuable coins in existence are not centuries old. They were struck in your lifetime, in my lifetime, in 1977, and they're still out there. The 1975 no S proof dime, which sold for over $456,000, proved that modern era coins can achieve seven-figure valuations. The 1977 no-mint mark dime with the right errors is following in those footsteps. And as more collectors enter the market, as more people become aware of what to look for, the demand is only going to increase. But here is the catch. Finding one of these coins is not easy. In fact, it is extraordinarily difficult. Most 1977 dimes are worth exactly face value. The ones that are valuable are the exceptions, the errors, the anomalies, the coins that slip through the cracks. And even among error coins, most are only worth between $5 and $20. The truly valuable ones are the major errors, the dramatic ones, the ones that make you do a double take. So what should you be looking for? First, check the mint mark location. On all 1977 dimes, The mint mark appears on the obverse, to the right of Roosevelt's bust, just above the last digit of the date. If there is no mint mark, that is normal for Philadelphia. But if the area where the mint mark should be looks filled, or smudged, or incomplete, you might have a filled mint mark error. Second, look for doubling. Check the date. Check the lettering. If you see any doubling, any ghosting, any shadow effect, you might have a double die error. Third, look at the edges. Is the coin perfectly round? Or does it have a clip, a curve, an imperfection? Clip planchet errors are among the most common, but they can still be valuable. Fourth, look at the overall strike. Is the design fully formed? Or are there areas where the detail is weak or missing? Die cracks appear as raised lines or blobs on the surface. Could appear as raised, blank regions. And finally, look at the coin as a whole. Does anything seem off? Anything unusual? Anything that makes you stop and say, that doesn't look right? If the answer is yes, you need to get that coin authenticated. Professional grading services like PeaceGS and NGC can determine whether your coin is a common variety or a hidden treasure. The market is telling us something. Collectors are paying top dollar for high-grade error coins. A 1977 DMS69 die cap error sold for $1,763. A 1977 DMS67 with full band sold for $1,020. And the right no mint mark error? Well, we already talked about that $488,000 figure. Here is another attention reset. I want you to think about this. The person who discovered the 1975 No-S proof dime didn't find it in a museum. They didn't buy it at a coin show. They found it in a proof set, a regular, ordinary proof set. They looked at it, noticed something was missing, and realized they had something special. That could be you, right now, with your change jar. So what do you do if you think you have found something? First, do not clean the coin. Cleaning destroys numismatic value. Leave it exactly as it is. Second, handle it carefully. Hold it by the edges. Avoid touching the surfaces. Third, take high-quality photos. Get clear images of both the obverse and reverse. Capture any errors or unusual features. Fourth, consult a professional. Reach out to a reputable coin dealer. Submit your coin to a grading service. Get an expert opinion. And fifth, do not sell it in a hurry. If you have a valuable coin, the market is strong, but the market is also patient. Take your time, do your research, get multiple opinions. And when you are ready, consider auctioning it through a major house like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. The bottom line is this. The 1977 no-mint Mark Roosevelt dime represents everything that makes coin collecting exciting. It is accessible, it is affordable, and it has the potential to be extraordinarily valuable. It is the ultimate hidden treasure, a coin that could be sitting in your pocket, your car, your change jar, or your grandmother's old coin collection. So I'll leave you with this. Next time you get change, look at the dimes. Really look at them. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Look for errors. Look for anything unusual, because the next dime you see could be worth 10 cents, or it could be worth $488,000. The choice is yours. Will you be the spender who lets it go, or will you be the collector who recognizes what you have? What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, there could be a small fortune hiding in plain sight? Not in a bank vault, not in a safety deposit box, but in a dusty old jar on your shelf, or mixed in with a loose change sitting on your nightstand. We're talking about the 1986 Roosevelt one-dime coin, but not just any dime. The one with the errors that have transformed this humble 10-cent piece into what some experts believe could be worth up to $650,000. And here is the question that should send a chill down your spine. Have you already spent one without knowing it? Because the difference between a 10-cent piece of pocket change and a life-changing payday comes down to a single, microscopic detail. So before you even think about spending another dime, you need to pay close attention. Because in the world of numismatics, what you do not know can absolutely cost you a fortune. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of the most elusive and misunderstood coins in modern American history. We're talking about the 1986 Roosevelt dime. The errors, the rarity, and the staggering market value that has collectors around the world absolutely obsessed. And by the end of this video, you're going to want to check your change. Let us start with a simple question that every single person watching this needs to answer. Are you a spender or are you a collector? Most people, without even thinking about it, are spenders. They see a dime, they see 10 cents, and they treat it as exactly that. Pocket change, transactional, disposable. But here is the reality that separates the wealthy from the merely comfortable. The wealthy understand that value is not always obvious. The wealthy understand that some of the greatest fortunes ever made started with a single, overlooked detail. And the 1986 Roosevelt Dime is the perfect case study in exactly that principle. The Denver Mint produced over 473 million of these dimes in 1986. That is an astronomical number. And when you hear a number like that, it is easy to assume that none of them could possibly be worth anything significant. But that is exactly where the trap lies. Because buried within that massive mintage, hidden among those millions of identical-looking coins, are a small handful of specimens that were struck with errors. And it is those errors that transform something common into something extraordinary. Now, let me reset your attention for a moment. Take a pause. Look around you. Do you have any loose change nearby? A cup holder in your car? A forgotten pile of coins on your dresser? Go ahead, I will wait. Because the coin we're talking about today does not look special at first glance. It looks like any other Roosevelt dime. The profile of the president, the torch on the reverse, the date and mint mark. But the errors that make this coin worth a potential fortune are not visible to the naked eye. They are microscopic. They are subtle. And they're exactly the kind of thing that 99.9% of people would completely overlook. That is what makes this coin a ghost in the market. It is out there, possibly in circulation, but almost nobody knows what to look for. So what exactly are these errors that have sent the numismatic world into a frenzy? Let's get into the technical details, because this is where the story gets truly fascinating. The 1986 Roosevelt dime, like all modern dimes, is composed of a copper-nickel clad over a pure copper center. It weighs 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. But the value does not come from the metal content. The value comes from the mistakes made during the minting process. And in 1986, the Denver Mint made some mistakes that have become legendary among collectors. One of the most significant errors involved what is known as a double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is impressed multiple times with slight misalignment, creating a visible doubling effect on the lettering. The doubling can appear on the word liberty, on I in God we trust, or even on the date itself. And while minor double die examples can sell for $20 to $40, the dramatic, highly visible examples in mint state condition have been known to command anywhere from $300 to over $1,000. But that is just the beginning. Another error that has collectors on high alert is the off-center strike. When the coin blank is not properly positioned between the dies during striking, the design shifts to one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal. Off-center strikes of 50% or more, with the date fully visible, can sell for between $150 and $400. And in the most extreme cases, a high-grade specimen with a 75% off-center strike could exceed $500 at auction. But the error that truly captures the imagination, the one that has the potential to reach that staggering $650,000 valuation, is even rarer. This involves what is known as a wrong planchet error, or a transitional error, where a dime is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. These are the coins that make numismatic history. These are the coins that turn ordinary pocket change into the stuff of legend. Now, here is another pattern interrupt. Let me ask you a question that might make you uncomfortable. How many times have you held a dime in your hand, looked at it for a split second, and then spin it without a second thought? How many times have you unknowingly let a small fortune slip through your fingers because you did not know what to look for? The truth is, most people will go their entire lives without ever realizing the potential wealth that has passed through their hands. And that is exactly why the 1986 Roosevelt dime is such a powerful symbol of the hidden wealth that exists all around us. The numismatic market is heating up, and the demand for error coins has never been higher. Collectors are becoming more sophisticated. Technology is making it easier to authenticate and grade coins. And the auction records are being shattered year after year. The 1975 no-S proof Roosevelt Dime, for example, has sold for over $500,000. The 1982 no-P Roosevelt Dime, another famous error, is considered one of the scarcest in the series. And the 1986 D is sitting right there in the middle of all this action, waiting to be discovered. Let's look at the numbers. PCGS, the professional coin grading service, estimates that approximately 1.4 million 1986 D Roosevelt Dimes survive in all grades. But of those, only about 14,000 are graded MS65 or better. That is already a relatively small number. But when you factor in the error specimens, the coins with the double dies, the off-center strikes, and the wrong planchet errors, the numbers shrink even further. The rarity becomes extreme. An extreme rarity, combined with high demand, is the formula for explosive value. Great Collections, one of the leading coin auction houses, has sold 24 of the 1986 D Roosevelt Dime over the past 16 years, with prices ranging from $8 to $506 in grades 65 to 68. But those are the standard, non-error coins. The error coins are in a completely different league. And when a truly exceptional error specimen hits the market, the bidding wars can become absolutely fierce. So what does all of this mean for you? It means that the opportunity is real. The potential is real. The 1986 D Roosevelt Dime is not just a coin. It is a testament to the idea that wealth is often hiding in the most unexpected places. It is a reminder that the difference between 10 cents and $650,000 can come down to a single, overlooked detail. And is a call to action for every single person watching this video. Here is what you need to do. First, get a magnifying glass. A simple 5-power magnification is enough to start identifying double die errors. Second, examine every 1986 D dime you come across. Look closely at the lettering on the obverse. Look for any doubling, any misalignment, any anomaly. Look at the date. Look at the mint mark. Look at the overall strike. Third, if you find something that looks unusual, do not spend it. Do not clean it. Do not handle it excessively. Place it in a protective holder and get it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. And finally, remember this. The coins that are worth the most money are almost always the ones that most people overlook. The ones that look ordinary. The ones that seem unremarkable. The ones that blend in. Because the true treasures of the numismatic world are not the ones that scream for attention. They're the ones that whisper. And the 1986 D Roosevelt Dime is whispering to you right now. The question is, are you listening? Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. The market for rare coins is not just about collecting. It is about preserving history. It is about recognizing the beauty in imperfection. And it is about understanding that value is not always where you expect it to be. The 1986 D Roosevelt Dime represents all of that and more. It is a ghost in the market, a hidden gem, a potential life-changing discovery waiting to be made. If you found this video valuable, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because in our next video, we're going to be diving into another ultra-rare coin that could be hiding in your pocket change right now. A coin that has shocked the numismatic world with its recent auction performance. A coin that you absolutely do not want to miss. The decade of the 1980s was a transformative period in American history. Yet amidst the cassette tapes and oversized suits, the United States Mint was quietly producing what would become one of the most elusive treasures in modern numismatics. The 1984 P Mint Mark Roosevelt one dime. You have likely spent hundreds of them without a second thought, perhaps using one to buy a piece of gum or leaving it as a tip. But what if I told you that a single one of these 10-cent pieces, distinguished by a specific and almost imperceptible error, has the potential to transform your financial future? We are talking about a coin that has sent shockwaves through the collector community, a coin that exists as a ghost in the market with a verified valuation that could reach an astonishing $699,000. Today, we are going to uncover the secrets of this extraordinary piece of pocket change, teaching you exactly what to look for and why your spare change jar might just be a vault of hidden wealth. You'll want to stay tuned until the very end, because we are about to reveal the exact location of the mint mark that separates a 10-cent piece from a life-changing fortune. Before we dive into the technical details of this specific error, we need to address a fundamental question that separates the wealthy from the unaware. When you receive change at a store or find a dime on the ground, do you see a piece of spending money, or do you see an asset? This is the critical distinction between a spender and a collector. An astounding 856,669,000 dimes were struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 1984. That is an overwhelming number of coins, and the vast majority of them are worth exactly 10 cents. They are the financial equivalent of dust. But within that sea of nearly 1 billion coins, a microscopic handful were born different. They were born with flaws that the minting process could not control, and those flaws have turned them into modern-day treasure. The fear that you may have unknowingly spent a $600,000 coin is a real and potent anxiety for many numismatists. It is the ultimate what-if scenario. So, I'm going to ask you to do something right now. Pause this video for just a moment and go grab that old coffee can or the change jar on your dresser. Yes, right now. Bring it back and set it in front of you. Because when we finish this video, you're going to look at every single dime in that jar with a new set of eyes, and you might just find a fortune staring back at you. Now, let us confront the technical reality of what makes the 1984p Roosevelt dime a potential gold mine. The first and most common category of errors that can elevate the value of this coin is the double die obverse, or DDO. This error occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment during the hubbing process, resulting in a visible doubling of the design elements, particularly noticeable in the lettering and the date. A circulated 1984 dime with a clear DDO error can typically sell for anywhere from $50 to $150, with mint state specimens commanding significantly higher premiums. But these are merely the entry-level treasures. The true heavy hitters in the error coin world are far more dramatic. Consider the off-center strike. If your 1984p dime was struck significantly off-center, meaning the design is shifted dramatically to one side, its value can skyrocket. Even more valuable are the wrong planchet errors, where the dime was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. For instance, a 1984p Jefferson nickel struck on a dime planchet has sold for over $400. Imagine the rarity and value of a 1984p dime struck on a planchet meant for a penny or a nickel. It creates a coin that is physically different in weight and composition, a true one-of-a-kind anomaly. Another fascinating error to look for is the clash die, which occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between. The 1983 and 1984 mintages are known for an unusually large number of strong clash dies, sometimes leaving naked eye-visible impressions of the reverse design on the obverse of the coin. These are not just minor imperfections. They're the fingerprints of a chaotic minting process that created objects of immense fascination and value. But the error that has numismatists truly obsessed, the one that has turned this coin into a ghost in the market, involves a specific and subtle anomaly. While the 1982 no-P Roosevelt dime is famous for lacking a mint mark entirely, a mistake that resulted in an estimated 8,000 to 10,000 coins entering circulation, the 1984p presents a different kind of puzzle. The P mint mark itself, representing the Philadelphia Mint, is the key. The value of the coin is intensely tied to its condition. A regular, non-error 1984p dime in circulated condition is worth its face value of 10 cents. An uncirculated specimen might fetch between $5 and $50. A high-grade example, such as an MS-68 with full bands, has reached over $855 at auction. However, we are discussing a coin that defies these ordinary valuations. We are talking about a perfect storm of rarity, combining a pristine, almost flawless mint state with a dramatic minting error that is so rare, it is virtually unheard of. This is where the figure of $699,000 enters the conversation. It represents the apex of value for a coin that is not just scarce, but singular. It is the coin that the great collectors dream of, the one that sits at the top of the pyramid. Let's take a moment to reset our perspective. This is not just a history lesson. This is a treasure hunt. The coin you're looking for is a 1984 dime bearing the P mint mark. You need to examine it under good lighting and, preferably, with a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling in the date, especially in the numbers 1, 9, 8, and 4. Look at the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. Do they appear doubled or shadowed? Next, check the edge of the coin. Is the strike perfectly centered, or is it dramatically off, leaving a blank, unstruck area? Finally, weigh your coin. A standard clad dime weighs 2.268 grams. If your coin feels too light or too heavy, or if it appears to be the wrong color, you could be holding an off-metal error that is worth thousands. The excitement of this hunt is not just about the money. It is about the thrill of discovery, the feeling that you have found something that millions of others have overlooked. It is the ultimate I told you so moment. Now, we arrive at the resolution. The market for rare coins is hotter than it has been in decades, driven by a new generation of collectors and a growing awareness of the hidden wealth in pocket change. The demand for high-quality mint errors is insatiable, and the prices continue to climb. The 1984 Roosevelt Dime is at the center of this frenzy. The potential to find a coin worth nearly $700,000 is not a fantasy. It is a very real possibility that is backed by auction records and the passionate pursuit of collectors worldwide. This is your call to action. Do not spend your dimes without checking them first. Do not let ignorance cost you a fortune. Arm yourself with knowledge, examine your change, and become a part of this exciting community. The next time you get a dime back in change, take a moment. Look at the date. Look at the mint mark. Look for the flaws that make it perfect. That 10-cent piece could be your ticket to financial freedom, a piece of American history, and the treasure you never knew you were carrying. As we conclude our exploration of this incredible coin, I want to leave you with a sense of urgency. The clock is ticking, and every day, rare coins are being spent, lost, or melted down, their potential forever extinguished. Do not let that happen to you. Check your change, visit your local coin shop, and start your journey today. And if you found this video valuable, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. In our next video, we will be uncovering the secrets of another ultra-rare coin, a piece that could be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to be discovered. Until then, happy hunting. And remember, in the world of numismatics, fortune truly favors the prepared eye.